The short O. There was a time when Russians learned to speak English solely from teachers who were born in Great Britain. This created a tradition of speaking English with the standard British accent. That may be perfectly fine if a Russian decides to live in England, but the American ear will only be doubly confused by a hybrid Russian/British accent. The European pronunciation of follow would be follow, wash would be wash, popular would be popular. Avoid that by correcting the short O as in not and pronouncing it ah. Apology. On. Obviously. Colleagues. Possibility. Opportunity. Socks. Observation. Probably. Beyond. Resolved. Meet me at our usual spot. That monster cannot be allowed access to my secrets. The mantle of responsibility weighs on those who choose to accept it. The modern world changes quickly and quite often. Roger thought back over the conversation. Your father didn't bother to ask if there's a problem with pomegranates. The doctor needs to see how your body responds. For a boy in America, baseball is not optional. The cottage was suitable for a prosperous family. A comic book is a solid object. Cicadas screamed as the sun dropped behind the forest. As in look. The Russian speaker often makes the mistake of turning the short vowel into a long vowel. For example, look has a way of becoming look. Make a point of learning the American pronunciation of this short vowel. Shook. Good. Push. Pull. Cookbook. There was a strong smell of wood smoke. He took her hand and stood beside her. It shouldn't be too much of a bother. She would be busy for the rest of the summer. I don't want to put you on the spot. The attendant said they would do the best they could. He couldn't look at his reflection in the mirror. I managed to nurture the hope that he'd pull through. She would have hated that. He shook his head as if to clear it. She's not out of the woods yet. I pushed open the door and stood looking into the darkness. She's in a good deal of pain. I couldn't quite get out the words. He managed to cook with one hand and smoke with the other. A pebble at that speed is as good as a bullet. My mouth was so full that I couldn't talk. The unstressed long E. Russian speakers often learn English through British teachers and examples. While this helps in learning proper grammar, it also contributes to making the Russian sound British. When speaking American English, the Russian needs to adapt to the local custom. British speakers tend to reduce the unstressed long E to a short I. The ending of the word study winds up sounding like study, as in the word in. Americans finish the sound with a long E, as in key. It is somewhat unfair to ask the Russian to tune a vowel that occurs on an unstressed syllable, yet that is exactly what is being asked. Keep in mind that proper syllable stress is the primary concern. Never sacrifice correct stress in pursuit of a vowel correction. Companies, assembly, electricity, luxury, previously, newly, hastily, mentality, shortly, fully, currency, completely, hardly, diligently, firmly. He was personally against the directory from the very start. We watched the factory worker quickly and arrogantly return all items of value. We received permission from the military authorities. Initially, these contacts were exclusively secret in nature. I was far from being sure that the money was successfully delivered. She wore a daisy tucked behind her ear. Somebody from the university walked out of the movie. The actors embodied a classic working-class couple, their courtship remarkably innocent in an outlaw world.